Hello, everybody. Hope you're having a good day today. Today is the Lord's Day, and some of you are already in services. Some of you have already been ready to go. And so enjoy your time with the saints. I mean, there's no better class of people you can ever be around. So be with them. Okay, the lesson today is called One Step at a Time. You know, we live in an instant world. Just about everything is provided for us in an instant. I mean, popcorn, fast food, pudding, grits, coffee, and a whole host of other things. And we have conditioned ourselves to expect things to be provided almost the exact instant that we want something. And the problem that a lot of times we face is the fact that other people are just not as concerned about getting what we want when we want it, but they're going to take their good old sweet time. And so, whatever it is, maybe if we want an answer, we want it now. If we want a discount, we want it now. If we want a hamburger, we want it now. And some people are not willing to take the necessary steps to get what they want in a timely fashion. And they just kind of do some shortcuts and they don't have a very good product. See, many of the tasks we get involved with are sometimes what we coming. Some of them are difficult, some of them are easy. What we usually do is get the easy things done first and then tackle the difficult ones. And some things just do not appear instantly when we want them. You know, when our boss walks up and says, I want something right now that we know is going to take some time, well, we tell them take a chill pill. Well, we would if we thought we could get away with it. But we learned that some tasks cannot happen instantly, even though we expect instant results in just about every other endeavor in life. So whenever we're given a certain task, we look at things that need to get done and wonder, just how is it going to be accomplished? Well, I'm sure you heard the one about the malnourished peasant that was presented an elephant to eat. And when asked how he could eat the elephant, he replied, one bite at a time. You know, there's a lesson there. That is how we are going to accomplish the great task before us. We're going to do it one step at a time. You may be familiar with some songs which talk about one step at a time or only a step and things like that. Yeah, we're going to take little steps. We don't have to get it all accomplished at once because, anyway, we may have to sit down and compile a list of priorities or needs or materials to do this task. That's what we call the logistics. And we need to make sure we have everything we need in order to accomplish it. And are we going to need to order things? We're going to have to schedule things to do this. I mean, if a small task, really, you can probably do with the tools on hand. A larger task might require some planning and some preparation, and not only that, getting the people involved that need to be involved. So, but really, on everything, doesn't matter what it is, all we can do is like the peasant, all we can do is one step at a time. And so, another problem we have is that there's a lot of frustration when others expect us to come through on such large tasks on a timely fashion, and we get upset when they begin to show displeasure at our failure to produce the results instantly. I mean, you say, what do you want? You want blood from a turnip or something? There's whichever cliche you want to use there, go ahead. But yeah, it's upsetting. You know it's going to take time, and you would think that your boss would know that it would take time. So yeah, you get upset about that. Now, folks, let's make a spiritual application here, because that's what we normally do. We want to make the spiritual application. When one becomes a Christian, there's a lot that needs to be learned and a life of changes that need to take place. There's a lot of changes. And new Christians can be overwhelmed by everything that they are expected to learn. Well, this is no different. I mean, we must do this one step at a time. One day, after all, we have the rest of our lives to figure it out. Now, some people might be getting up in age and think, well, I don't have that much time left. Well, none of us are promised tomorrow. So, in a sense, we better learn it just as fast as we can. But anyway, we have to figure these things out. We have the advantage of a loving God who sympathizes with us. I mean, some people don't treat us that way. I mean, God's going to get you for that. And I mean, so if we're trying, God knows it. I mean, at least as long as we're trying. Some people don't even try and expect God to have some sort of understanding. No, that's not going to happen. As long as we're trying, God knows what's going on. And we may not know as much as others. I mean, they did not learn this stuff overnight, and neither are we going to learn it overnight. And they learned it over time. And sometimes what they learned over time, they had to relearn over and over. And because there is so much involved in it. So we're never going to know it all. I mean, that's just plain fact. God knows it all. We're not God, so we're not going to know it all. But God does expect us to learn as much as we can in order to accomplish what we're supposed to do as Christians. Our job as Christians is to help others get to heaven. So we need to learn the Bible and show people what the Bible teaches about how to get to heaven. And so we must be willing to do that. All right. What we have to be careful about is some might think the task of learning is too great and they will not attempt to learn or study. You know, this can happen to a new Christian. I mean, it's just overwhelming for them. And they're ready to give up because I could never get to that point. You know, even though I was spiritually minded as a younger person, I looked at some of the elderly ones and I said, man, I'll never be that Bible smart. But guess what? One day at a time, one task at a time, one thought at a time, it gets there. And it gets to that point where you realize, okay, I do know a lot. Anyway, we need to encourage every Christian to grow in grace and knowledge now while they can. See, there might come a time in which they cannot learn anything or cannot understand the meaning of what they are taught. I mean, people get to that stage in life where they just lose their capacities for thinking. So while there's time, I mean, while they're still alive, we can do that. And these people who have dementia and other problems, they have an excuse about not learning, but those not in that condition have no excuse at all. You know, just like the Romans 1:20 tells us that people have no excuse to recognize God when God has given them plenty of evidence for his existence. And so take the time to learn something new. I mean, that's what we should do as Christians. Learn something new every day. Listen to a different perspective every day on these various passages and study your Bible. And if you have questions, don't be ashamed to ask questions. I mean, there's a lot of information you get off the internet, and hopefully you also have some trust in a few people who basically have studied a long time, and you can get their perspective as well. And then you start saying, okay, how does this apply to me? And you can do that. So there's much to learn. In fact, there's so much that God does not expect us to know it all. God expects us to try to learn as much as we can, and we do it one step at a time, and we need to learn as much as we can in order to help others do the same thing. Learn about God and how to serve him. So, I mean, just very simple lesson today. Think about that. And that's it for today. Do something good for God, and every day. Not just on Sunday, but every day. Do something good for God. Something that maybe you didn't do yesterday. I mean, share Bible scriptures on your Facebook page. Share messages like this. And who knows, you might be able to help someone come to the knowledge of the truth so as to be saved. So that's going to be our lesson for today. Lord willing, be back again tomorrow with another lesson.